I'ma offer the singing part of this video to Sensui. Hey, Sensui, hey. He gon' steal your load, baby. He gon' steal your load, baby. He gon' steal it. He gon' retribution. He stole it with a Nathan, and he stole it with a Nolan. Ooh. When something is over in the world of professional wrestling, it means the fans love it. It means that whatever it is that's going on, or whoever this is something that the fans just can't get enough of. This is overs and unders. I'm going to be talking about which teams are over and which ones are under. Let's get to it. AP Bren, what else do I have to say? They're currently sitting at 6 points, not a single loss, not a series nor a game, and they're as strong as they ever were. It is what it is. Let's call a spade a spade. They're on top of their game, and that moment that they had with Blacklist International, they admitted that maybe they had troubles or a few mistakes along the way in those Lord dances, but they walked away unscathed. You know, like, but did you die? That's the kind of moment I'm having with AP Bren, and they're definitely over. Talking about under, I guess let's just band-aid this, right? Rip it off the top. TNC. It's been tough watching TNC. And again, it would be a crying shame if I did not address the elephant in the room, or the Phoenix. Nomad is forced to adjust. Nomad was touted as a gold laner, and now he's playing in their starting five as the roamer. For some moments, it's not as clear. For some moments, you would say, hey, he's fine, he's doing his job. But just the same, you can tell that he wasn't training for this up until this moment. Again, that's just my read on the situation. Nothing against Yasuo. I'm a big fan of Yasuo, good old Robbie. But some of the movements that he has are very reliant on the mid duo rotation. And because of that, it's clear that one, again, Nomad was put on the spot. It's very hard for him to adjust. And number two is maybe Hatred's synergy and communications aren't as 100% solid with TNC compared to long-standing teams like AP Bren, like Ekko, like Blacklist, like even Minana Evos, which we'll get to in just a bit. So even with the results withstanding, again, they're sitting at 0-2, not a single game won. It was very close for their very first game. Again, they were dominating for the first 10 minutes of that, but which was surprising. And then it just went downhill from there. Week 1, TNC is very under. Talking about an over team this time, it's Ekko. And I got at least this one right. They're coming in strong with a 2-0 record still, not even a game loss over 2 series. And they have 2 rosters. I don't know if it was for the MDL nostalgia feels, but they fielded the outplayed Zyda version of Ekko, Loud, and they also fielded the Carl Tizzy Benny Cutie version of Ekko Loud. And again, if you really pay attention, you can feel the difference, but you know that both versions of this lineup is strong. This harkens back to how Ekko has its own scrimming system, which helped secure that M4 World Championship in recent years. So I am not surprised that this is actually happening to them now. Ekko debuted the only X-Borg jungle in MPL Philippines Season 13. And for those of you who don't know, and again, if you're also watching and paying attention to MPL ID, X-Borg is slowly building up to becoming a meta hero or a meta breaker. More on that later. But again, just shows you how deep their strategies lie, even with just Coach Tic-Tac at the helm. Talking about an under team here, and I'm going to be very, how do I say, real with how I approach this, is because I put them in the under the radar category of the very first episode of Overs and Unders. But the new barangay, Smart Omega, is seemingly taking its time to building up to a good flow. It seems like they have a first five that actually they'll try to stick to, and it's the younger version of the barangay. It's got Marked, it's got Ryle, it's got Matt, it's got Lewis, it's got West, And this lineup, on paper, again, solid contender for the MDL championship last season. I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's just them syncing up to the current metagame, to how it works, to the speed of the league or the stage. They did win one game. They went all the way three for one of their series. But just the same, I think there's a lot that they can work on. I'm hoping that it's an upward trajectory, and I hope that we see more of later half season 12 Sir Matt, wherein he was just way ahead of the curve and he was waiting for, now honestly, it feels like he's waiting for the rest of his team to actually get into gear and then get into sync. That's just how it feels. I don't know exactly how to read Omega's positioning right now. Maybe they belonged in the I'm not so sure category last episode. Another over team of this week is Minana Evos. Dear Lord, Busyan, y'all. Oh, I'm not so sure if they say that anymore. If you pay really close attention to the acoustics in the studio, they don't seem to shout Busyan anymore. And I'm very, very sad. But regardless, they ended week one with a 1-1 record. Swept TNC and went all three games against Blacks International. And that Blacklist International series went back and forth, could have gone either way. And because of that long, drawn-out series, if against TNC it was a clear showcase for Kirk, this three-game series against Blacks International was just a showcase for everyone. I mean, Kirk did Kirk things. I'm happy to see this rookie, this young star from Minana Evos, from the Hokbo, do his thing. But my eyes were open to how actually good Lancey is, to how good Kaizen is. And again, it also happened with that TNC thing where he just, heavy spin, and then how good Miles is. Again, I never doubted Miles. Miles has always held a special place in my heart. And again, he hasn't even brought out the crazy roamer picks. The picks that Coach Imba DJ and the rest of Minana Evos have been alluding to, right? He's only really played his Rafaela. He's only really played those kinds of heroes a week in. But if you'll notice, I've yet to mention Doming. I think the situation with Minana Evos now is, I think Doming was a step ahead in the last season, and now everybody stepped up. And I think the league's not ready for it. We're not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. I'll have to admit, I put them in the under the radar category, but I didn't expect for them to be this strong. I'm considering putting Minana Evos right now in top 3 of MPL Philippines Season 13. That's how strong I think Minana Evos is. They're capable of going toe-to-toe against the best of the best. And they're able to recover and again just stay in there against the Cardinal Ones and Sui. That's how tight I think Kaizen's Retribution game is now. Their objective control, their Lord's Dance. It's amazing. And not to mention Kirk. If for Blacklist, it's Sensui who might just suddenly retry your Lords out of nowhere, I'm afraid Kirk can hit me with a final slash when I'm not looking. Kirk, like that. Minana Evos definitely over. They've leveled up, and I'm excited to see how they'll do against some of the other strong teams in the league. Again, Minana Evos, AP Bren. Minana Evos, Ekko. Sheesh! Exciting stuff. Let's talk about an under team, and this one was painful for me. I didn't want to cop out and have a I don't know category anymore. So I'm going to hold myself to this decision and put RSG Philippines in the under category this week after week 1. They have 2 lineups. They have the Nibor Aqua lineup and the RTZ Nats lineup. And they finished week 1 with a 1-1. I watched both games, both matches, and I still can't quite read Nats RTZ. It might be because Ekko was super aggressive, and it's been a while since RTZ played with that roster. Again, I'm just trying to find reasons as to why that's their performance. But Nibor Aqua felt safer. Nibor Aqua felt like there were less moving parts, and it felt like a more solid Raider ship. So with that said, I always thought that they were going to be solid. I always thought that RSG PH was a lineup that had a you get what you see or what you expect kind of performance. And we did get that. Again, Coach Panda in the post-game interview for their first match said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna put us at a 6 out of 10. It's a good start, not the best, but that's where they like to be. Like they want to build up, and that's how they've done it season after season, which I think puts them in an okay spot. If I put them under in week 1, maybe under week 2, week 3, I think that's fine because at least they know what to work on come playoffs." Let's talk about our last over team in this week's overs and unders. And gotta say, I almost lost my voice because of how amazing Blacklist International debuted. Given they ended 1-1, losing in a sweep against the defending champions, and then went again the distance with Minana Evos, but both were worth it. I actually casted both matches. Was an analyst for the AP Bren Blacklist matchup, so that felt very surgical. I approached that from we know where they came from, we know the last time that they met, and then come the Blacklist Minana Evos matchup, it felt like they were just trying to one up each other. Like one of those Frieza arc Goku and Vegeta moments. If you know, you understand. You're a little too old. Maybe you should be thinking of getting married and getting kids. Jokes aside, Blacklist International is real. I don't think they need to adjust too much. They don't need to switch up that lineup too much because Haji's doing okay. I don't see Haji as a clear Achilles heel just yet. There are no true Achilles heels in Blacklist International. If anything, in their losses and in the moments wherein they could have had it, a lot of their pitfalls solely lie on their opponents doing the better thing or making the right call and not necessarily them doing anything wrong. I'm not defending them. Again, I'm not sugarcoating this. I'm just saying eventually if you give Blacklist time to solve certain problems, they will find the right answer. So with that said, I think if I gave RSG the benefit of the doubt, I think Blacklist deserves that too, but from the upper echelon, from the overs segment of this video. I'ma offer the singing part of this video to Sensui. Hey, Sensui, hey. He gon' steal your load, baby. He gon' steal your load, baby. He gon' steal it. He gon' retribution. He stole it with an A-N. And he stole it with the Nolan. Oh. And there's only really one team that we haven't talked about. One more team that finds themselves in the under category of today's video. And that's Onic Philippines. I have a lot of questions and a lot of bullet points for this AKA super team / super fam. Number one is, how do they use the meta? In their outing initially, they tried to break the meta and they tried to go a little too cheeky against Ekko and lost. There was very little that they were putting on the board. Very little pressure. They wanted to do one thing, like 1 or 2 solid things off of a lineup that can only really do those things. Ekko did not budge. Second match, they up and just shocked RSG. Again, one could say maybe it's because RSG also switched up their style. They give a chance to the other configuration that they had, RTZ and Nats. But there was still a little bit of cheese in there. You know what I'm talking about, right? The Lo Yi. Something that came up in their post-match interview, Mara and Hans asked Coach Etomax about the Lo Yi. He mentioned about how that hero really fits their play style, which was, by the way, very aggressive. Very, very aggressive. When Onic PH is doing Onic PH things, they're very aggressive. Coach Etomax mentioned that the hero fit their style very well is because the players read the map very well. He compared it to them all having a certain level of map hack. It's like they could see everything. And if there is a team from recent history that I think has the same superpower, it's S10, S11, and M4 era Ekko. If you'll watch the Ekko mic checks, you'll see that they all communicate in a way that, again, I alluded to this several times in broadcast already, wherein they would make calls on the map, and because of certain calls and the way that they're mentioned in order, and these are all coming from different players, all five, Yawi, Carl Tizzy, Sanji, Sanford, and Benny, it's as if they could paint a picture of the map in their heads. So by process of deduction, not here, not here, we're going here, not here, it's like you know where everything on the map is. I'm wondering what the Onic system looks like. I'm wondering how Onic's map reading works. One could only assume, because again, that's privileged information. That's stuff that you can only really tell if they release their comms. But Etomax also mentioned that this map reading skill or talent is also very strong, specifically in their cores. And I'm guessing he was referring to King Kong and Kelra, which makes sense. If you'll watch the games wherein they win, you'll notice that Kelra plays classic Kelra. It's the gold standard Kelra. He's going to stick to his lane, whether or not that gets beat up, whether he's visited by 2 or 3 members of the opposing team, it's fine. He will protect himself. And then eventually, when the time's up, when it's ready, homie just goes ham. He goes from 0-0-0 to about 3-0-1 in less than a minute after he hits his power spike, after the map opens itself up. And how does that happen? It happens off of King Kong playing a much more role player type of jungler. A lot of people would assume that he would be, a polar opposite to Kelra, making Onic PH go in different directions. But based on what I saw, and wherein they beat RSG, it looked like he played a game closer to an early Sensui or a Season 8, Season 9 type of Ryzen. That's what this King Kong looked like. So I'm excited to see where they land, and it's because of these questions. Maybe I know half the answers to them, or I understand where half of them are coming from, that I would rather be conservative and put them in the under category in this week. Their under for me is because I don't know how consistent they can be this aggressive, and I don't know how far they can take this dynamic and how far they can break the metagame. I would rather have a level of consistency and a upwards ramp than odd spikes, because odd spikes, you can never really tell. This might be the reason why they don't find themselves in the playoffs come a couple of months from now. So that's why Onic is my last team in the unders category. To close off this episode of Overs and Unders, let's talk about the metagame. I'll be naming 3 heroes who are over and why, and their counterparts in the under. Let's talk about these heroes. Number 1 is Xborg. We've seen Xborg 5 times this week. One of them be the jungler in the hands of Carl Tizzy, and the other 4, as per usual, in the XP lane. The reason why I think Xborg is over right now is because he plays a very specific role. He is a box breaker. The way his kit works, the way how he provides himself several lines of defense, several stop clicks, if you will, several bars of HP that are reliably used to peel for your lineup, coupled with the fact that he can just break through most front lines straight into a back line and get away safely, makes him a hero that you can't deny, a hero that you should never forget. Maybe even consider banning him out in the second phase, if not completely block him out in the first. So that's why I think Xborg is currently over right now. Vixana is also very over right now. Similar numbers to what MPLID posted. She's currently number 1 top pick at 12 games overall throughout the weekend. And you already know. All of the Eternal Guards, all of the bonks, all of the CCs, all of the nukes. As long as you have a solid flicker on you and you're able to communicate with your roam and your XP, that's most likely to peel, or your jungler, you're fine. It's a scary combo that most Vixanas can actually lay out there. Definitely over. And our last over hero is Arlott. He's number 2 top pick right now at 10 picks, tied with Carry. And the reason why is, I think Arlott, similar to Franco or to Kaja, in the sense that you could miss all of your final slashes, but once you hit that last one and it changes the game, you do it inside your base when you're defending and you punish your opponents, you can turn it around almost single-handedly without the burden of having a kit that doesn't work out in the first half of the match. Like, Arlott just does a lot in the laning phase. Arlott just does a lot in every single phase of the game. And that's why he's so worth it, even for teams that are losing. Definitely over. And now for under heroes, I'm gonna just breeze through this. It's because I can't read exactly why these heroes are underperforming, but hear me out. Check it out. Number one, Minotaur. He's just too reactive. You'll see he's very here and there in lineups, and I think he lost more games last weekend than he won. So I think teams have just had enough of Minotaur. He's just had too much of a time in the sun. He's slowly becoming beef jerky. Teams have to find a way to maybe leverage Minotaur once more. It's just too easy to read into Minotaur now. Second underhero is Fredrin. Outplays and comeback potential from a jungler like Fredrin only come from teams who are super in sync. So I'm looking at teams that have been together for a long time. AP Bren, Blacklist, Ekko. Some would consider maybe even Minana, RSG. All the other teams that are kind of new or that are still figuring each other out, Fredrin's not going to do very well for you, especially if you're losing. That's why he's under. His win rate is down the drain after week one. Last but not least, this is odd to see, but the numbers don't lie. Joy currently has a 0% win rate. She was picked 3 times, banned 14, which means she's still part of the jungle trinity. When I say jungle trinity, it means 3 heroes in the jungle that you will most likely see banned because teams want to pick them. And I think it came time that we have to redefine the jungle trinity. Because even Guinevere now is seeing play elsewhere. Last I checked, it was Joy, Nolan, and Guinevere. Guinevere now can be here and there. Interesting. We need to study these numbers. But yeah, that's off topic. Currently, Joy's not doing very well. Even if she does get banned a lot, and teams definitely want her, but they just can't seem to make her work. The gambits and the trades don't work out. She's definitely under this week. That was overs and unders. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys would maybe fancy a little sub, maybe. Or follow me on social media at LeoCastPH everywhere. Check out my website, www.leocasts.ph. And give my man's Ray Ash a holler. He's been editing these and making sure that you guys get the best content on behalf of yours truly. I'll see y'all this week on MPL Philippines Season 13. Holla!